The boy stuck the fan blades into the ground, and then removed the batteries from the radio. It still played clearly. His father looked on in amazement. He immediately explained that it was wind power. By connecting wires and using the fan blades to generate electricity, the radio could be powered. If a larger one could be made, it could even power a water pump to draw water from the well to irrigate the land, solving the long-term drought problem. However, to complete this invention, he would have to dismantle his father's only bicycle for parts. Although the idea was good, his father thought it was unrealistic and scolded his son. He didn't believe that this broken windmill could solve the drought problem. However, this statement completely enraged the uneducated farmer father. He threw his son to the ground and cursed him. After his father left, seeing his invention destroyed, William couldn't help but cry. The next day, he still followed his father's advice and got up early to farm the land, stopping only at noon to rest. But he did not give up on his studies. Whenever he had free time, he would help the villagers repair their radios, which allowed him to study mechanical principles and earn some pocket money to supplement the household income. This scene was witnessed by his father, who said nothing, but took the radio outside to observe the weather. The weather looked promising for the time being, and the harvest was expected to be bountiful. But who could have predicted that soon after, blinded by greed, the villagers made a wrong choice, leading to the worst famine in 20 years. That day, when he returned home, William was surprised to find a school uniform on his bed. It turned out that his father had only been venting his frustration. Knowing his son loved learning, he had managed to scrape together the tuition for middle school, no matter how poor the family was. On the first day of school, it poured rain, which seemed like a good omen. Back in the classroom, the science teacher began the lesson, but after school, he suddenly called William over and asked him to pay the remaining tuition fees as soon as possible. William was puzzled by this and asked for an explanation. He then learned that his father had only paid the first installment of the tuition fees, though he felt a little sad. He smiled when he saw the dog coming to pick him up. By the time he got home, it was almost dark. William leaned against the window and wrote the science test questions. At that moment, his mother walked in and said that the kerosene lamp at home had run out because it was too dark. William had to stop his unfinished homework and go help his father with his work. Therefore, on the next day's exam, William only scored 62 points. Although it was just enough to pass, he was very dissatisfied. In order to study at night, after school, William went to the landfill with his friends. It was filled with things discarded by the tobacco company. After searching for a long time, William only found a water pump and some used batteries. There was nothing that could help him study at night. On the way home, William ran into the chief meeting with the villagers. It turned out that the tobacco company wanted to buy a ton of timber at a low price. At such a cheap price, the chief and William's father disagreed, but the villagers rushed forward to sign because they were simply too poor. Soon, the tobacco company's workers began cutting down the trees. William watched helplessly, his heart racing, but there was nothing he could do. To find a place to distract himself, William went to the village's bad kids base. They were listening to a soccer match, but the radio suddenly ran out of power. When everyone turned their gaze toward him, William immediately understood. He ran home in the rain to fetch old batteries and tools, and returned to the hangout. Sure enough, William did not disappoint everyone's expectations, and successfully powered the radio. This made everyone very excited. From then on, William became the idol of the bad kids. After listening to the game and returning home, William bumped into his sister secretly dating the science teacher. In this backward village, this was something that would bring shame to the whole family. In order to teach the teacher a lesson, the next day after school, William and his friends went to the science teacher's bicycle, intending to puncture the tires. But after much consideration, the kind-hearted William couldn't bring himself to do it. So his friends came up with a plan. Take the bike's headlight. That way, they could study at night. William thought it was a good idea, but when he tried to take it, he discovered that the headlight was connected to a silver device. By turning the pedals and rubbing this device, the headlight miraculously lit up. Seeing this, William seemed to have an epiphany, and this light illuminated the direction of his future.